On Close Up this morning, is there tension in the Michael Jackson camp? As we've been reporting, Jackson's attorney issued a statement Wednesday saying no one speaks for the pop star but him. And Jackson was back in the hospital overnight as well. The Reverend Jackson is advising the pop star, and Dan Abrams is NBC's chief legal correspondent and host of the Abrams Report on MSNBC. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Let's go over these statements that were released yesterday. The first was a court-approved statement from Tom Mesereau, which read, "I have not authorized anyone to speak or hold any press conferences on behalf of Michael Jackson or his family. A gag order is in effect, which the defense team will continue to honor." Later in the day, this statement appeared on Michael Jackson's website, saying the efforts of Michael Jackson's friends and supporters are noticed and very much appreciated at this time. However, only Michael Jackson's attorneys of record have been authorized to speak on his behalf. So, Reverend Jackson, I guess this begs the question, is he talking to you or is he talking about you?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, the defense team is on a gag order, which it is honoring. Ramon Baines is not a part of the defense team. She is the spokesman for Michael Jackson and has done a very excellent job in doing so. I was there at Michael's behest as a supporter, and with him even last night before I left California to come back to Chicago. There's a kind of two-track process here. That is the courtroom, and then there's the court of public opinion.
Right.
And the absence of Ramon Baines, no one is speaking on that side of it, and so
but
she
Reverend
was
Jackson,
no means.
Reverend Jackson, you've been speaking out on behalf of Michael Jackson publicly. You've done a series of interviews. Have you talked directly with Tom Mesereau, gotten his permission, or, has he discussed it with you?
I did talk with him yesterday. He made it clear that a statement was made by Ramon. He thought it implicated him in the sense that he's on the gag order, and she said that she consults regularly with him. He did not want that to be interpreted to mean that she was his surrogate. He did not want to be reprimanded by the judge. But that little matter really was resolved. She is speaking on behalf of Michael Jackson. She's doing a good job of it. And I think that that issue now is clarified. I spoke with Michael last night. He was excited. I've not seen Michael quite as ebullient in a long time, frankly. His back, as he's on his therapeutic treatment, he's feeling much better, has confidence in the jury. He has confidence in Tom Mesereau's arguments he's put forth. And so there's a certain excitement in the camp, and I think from where I stand, that's the real news.
Well, what about the fact that he went to the hospital again physically? What's going on with him?
Well, it's just a part of the routine of his therapeutic treatments. He went at night, so to avoid some of the rush of the cameras. Michael, after doing a concert in Korea a couple of years ago, went on to Munich and had a severe fall in Munich, Germany, like 60 feet, like a life-threatening fall that really injured his back. So he's been operating with that pain for some time. And then, of course, he had the awkward fall in the shower. And it's been kind of unfair for the media to suggest cynically that his back problems are somehow due to his making some political ploy.
Right.
He is under tremendous stress, which exacerbates the back situation. But Michael has been physically in lots of pain, but he's coming back from that physically. What I'm impressed with is his mind and strength of reasoning under the duress he is now facing.
Right.
I think he's in part happy last night because the Wall Street Journal article began to expose some of what he thinks to be financial challenges that triggered this whole problem. His confidence in the jury remains kind of real optimistic and hopeful. Michael declares his innocence in the most private of moments. But furthermore, he is convinced that those who testified against him, who he feels really betrayed him in his confidence, that those persons, in the face of cross-examination, will lost away some stench of a money trail. So he looks forward to being acquitted. Really.
All right. Reverend Jackson, thank you so much for talking with us. We're going to move on to Dan Abrams now. Dan, can you put this into some perspective for us? Is there dissent within the defense camp? And what do you make of all these messages saying nobody speaks for Michael Jackson but his authorized attorneys?
Well, it's tough to know because the two people who I would have thought that Tom Mesereau and Michael Jackson are referring to are saying it doesn't refer to them. Ramon Baines, the spokesperson, and the Reverend Jackson. And they very well may be right. But then the question becomes, why did Tom Mesereau, Michael Jackson's attorney, feel the need to go to the court to get permission to make this statement and yet no one seems to know who he's talking about.
Let's move on, Dan.
As a result,
Dan, I was just going to say, let's move on to the deliberations. The jury's been deliberating for 5 days. Is the length of time good news or bad news for either side?
tough to know. If it had been a very quick deliberation, I think the defense would have been encouraged. I think the usual rules may not apply in a case this high profile. Why? Because I think those jurors don't want to be seen as jurors who didn't evaluate each and every piece of evidence. So no matter which way they're leaning, if they're leaning one way or another, I think they're going to take their time, go through all of the evidence in a way that they might not ordinarily do in a case that wasn't this high profile.
And real quickly, Dan, how long do you think this is going to go on, these deliberations?
You know, tough to know. We see a lot of verdicts on Fridays. We're only going a half day today, and this jury has only really been deliberating 6 hours a day, so it certainly could go into next week.
All right, Dan Abrams, NBC's chief legal correspondent. Dan, thanks so much.